If we want to save our country, we should follow the advice good liberals have given for decades and learn from other countries. Especially those beacons of progressivism like Canada, England, and Scandinavia. Those beacons of progressivism, those beacons of progressivism, those beacons of progressivism like Canada.
The suspect in the Quebec City mosque attack is alleged to have expressed support for far-right ideologies. Similar voices are becoming more active in Canada.
England.
Right-wing parties include the Republican Party from the United States, the Conservative Party from the United Kingdom,
Union as a major player in the European Union.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Therefore elected
And Scandinavia.
Another strong showing by the right in Northern Europe. The Danish People's Party is celebrating its victorious result. DPP confirms an anti-immigration trend in the Nordic countries.
And I agree we should, as long as we're honest about the lessons we're learning, and as long as we're up to date on the current data. Such as the unemployment rate in the U.S. is 3.8%, and in Canada it's 6.1%. As long as we're honest, and of the 15 North American cities with the worst air pollution, 14 are in Canada.
Canada was the most polluted country in North America last year. 13 of the continent's most polluted cities were in Canada, thanks in large part to extensive wildfires that raged in our country from May right through to October.
As long as we're honest, I'm not citing these stats because I have it out for Canada. I love Canada and its people and always have. But I hate zombie lies. Zombie lies. That's when things change, but what people say about them doesn't. There's only one problem with thinking everything's better in Canada. It's not. Not anymore, anyway. Last year, Canada added 1.3 million people, which is a lot in 1 year, the equivalent of the U.S. adding 11 million migrants in 1 year.
New research shows more immigrants are leaving Canada. In fact, there's been a steady rise since the 1980s.
As long as we're honest, and now they're experiencing a housing crisis even worse than ours.
Canada's population is heavily concentrated around its cities, with roughly 3/4 of the population living in large urban centers. And with Canada's particularly resilient reputation, investors flooded in. In 2020, it was estimated that 1/5 of all homes in British Columbia, Ontario, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia were investor-owned.
As long as we're honest, it's their vaunted healthcare system, which ranks dead last among high-income countries in access to primary health care. And it's not for lack of spending. Of the 30 countries with universal coverage, Canada spends over 13% of its economy on it, which is a lot of money for free health care. As long as we're honest, but I need to cite you as a cautionary tale to help my country. As long as we're honest, Canada is what American voters think happens when there's no one putting a check on extreme wokeness. Like the saga of Canadian shop teacher Kayla Lemieux. Kayla is now back to being a guy named Kerry, but 2 years ago when they showed up to teach children, the progressive high school they taught at said that they, the school, not the person.
I am employing this awkward and impossible naming style because it is now apparently mandatory and am probably doing it wrong.
They were committed to a safe environment for gender expression. Safe for who? What about the children?
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
What about the children? As long as we're honest, on the trans issue, America is no ands, ifs, or buts about it, absolutely alone in the world now, an outlier country. As long as we're honest, Last month, England's National Health Service announced that there's not enough evidence to support the safety or clinical effectiveness of puberty blockers for third graders. So too with all the other good place countries, in direct opposition to America's choice to affirm children's wishes on switching gender. As long as we're honest, the far left, which always like to use, well, Europe does it. Yeah, no, that doesn't work on this one anymore. As long as we're honest,